Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. This is Camel Call Live. My name is Chris Haymeyer, and we are live from the County Seat Sports Grill in downtown Lillington. And tonight, we've got a full show for you tonight. We'll visit with Campbell head coach of our football team, Mike Minter, current co-defensive coordinator and former teammate with him at Carolina, Reggie Howard. But first, we talk to our head volleyball coach. He's the man who brought the first ever volleyball championship to Campbell. He is head coach Greg Goral. And, Coach, you are already a weekend into this season. We'll talk a lot about the championship. We'll talk a lot about your team and what you have built here. But first, Coach, tell me how things are after your first weekend of action, that tournament in Charlotte.
Things are going pretty well. We've got a lot of talent on our team, a little bit younger than last year. We've got 4 freshmen, all contributing in different ways. But we have to become more consistent. But we're playing some really, really good non-conference opponents this fall that are really going to test us and kind of see if we can raise the level of our program from just being a dominant force in our conference to being more of a dominant force in the region and on more of a national scale.
You have certainly challenged yourself. Your very first match of the season was against Syracuse out of the ACC, and we were all back here in the creek watching it on the stats. That was a very close match. Not only did you take a set, you could have took a couple of more, and talking to your assistants, you could have won that against the Syracuse Orangemen.
Oh, yeah. They're very talented. They have a couple of physical outsides that have international experience. And definitely senior-laden with that experience. But we started a little slow in set 1. We were actually down about 8 points. But our team just gathered themselves. They composed themselves. We tied it at 22 and didn't get a few points to go our way. Lost 25-23, but we were right there. And then we felt comfortable going toe-to-toe with them. We understood what they were doing offensively, and we figured out how to score. Didn't get it done, but it was, again, a close set 2, and then we took set 3. The savviness of their international players scored them a few extra points to give them just enough a cushion in set 4 to take the victory. But I think I learned a lot about our team and the resiliency that we have and the talent that we can play with an ACC power.
Oh, one of your hallmarks is over a decade now here at Campbell, you have rebuilt this program that was really in shambles when you took it over, is your recruiting. And I know you are excited about who you have brought in, and they're contributing already. Tell us about your newcomers.
I can start with Maddie Converse. She's a setter from Minnesota, played for Northern Lights Volleyball Club, a national power in club volleyball. And she does a great job of running her side of the court, running the offense. She provides energy. She's a great leader, great on-court presence. She got her hand crushed 3 or 4 points into the first set against Syracuse. So she had to come out. But nothing's broken. We got good news today. She should be good to go. And really help us add the depth, to our setting spot. We've got Gwen Walcow from Chicago, Illinois. She's a 6-foot outside, played for Sports Performance, another national power in the club volleyball world. She's got length, she's got power, she's got a great heavy topspin serve, can hit from both pins. She's done it at a national level. She, like a lot of her teammates, play in Power 5 conferences. So she's definitely been ready to kind of step in and help us from the very first point. And then we've got 6'5" Allie Clint. That's
the one that jumps off the page. When she came into the gym for the first time, 6'5", you can't teach that.
Yeah, and she's a former dancer. Like, she can move. And so,
you're kidding me.
Yeah, she can move. And so as long as we get the ball high enough to her, she can go over the top of people. She moves pretty well. And again, she's just a freshman. She's going to have plenty of time to figure out the speed of the game, how to score, how to shut people down. But even now, she's got some natural moves. She did a tremendous job shutting people down over the weekend and finding ways to score. So excited about that.
Well, not only do you have these fantastic freshmen, but you return some of the best players in the entire conference and beyond. You have some of the most fierce hitters and the best defensive specialists that I have seen in a long, long time. Tell us about this crew that comes back, the defending champs.
Well, I can start with our 5 seniors. I think they bring a great amount of leadership back, a lot of poise, composure. Melody Page is just really dominant in the middle, fast, athletic, bounces balls, and then can fly around and shut people down as a blocker. Layla Green on the outside is our one true 6 rotation player. So she has to do it all: pass, defend, serve, block, attack, and again, she can manage. She does all sorts of great things for us as an outside. Elise Gross has been a consistent defensive player for us. She defends well, has a great bullet of a serve, and then really shores up passing when we need an extra passer out there. Emily Mitter has been a starting setter for basically her entire career here. Very under control, fires balls around, and this year, even her defense has been better than it was in the years past, and is now just as a senior very savvy, knows what's going on. You can tell that she's just very comfortable out there running the offense. And then Ananda Patterson has been phenomenal on the right side. I mean, she started as a middle her freshman, sophomore years. We shifted her to the right side, and now she gets more opportunities to play, but really dynamic player. Scores a lot and then is a great blocker on the right side for us. So all 5 of those players really kind of anchor our upperclassmen. And then the 2 right behind them, Chloe Cook and Claire Ann, are just as outstanding. Chloe was all tournament this past weekend at UNC Charlotte. I think there were several matches she hit over 300 and had, I think it was 37 kills, something like that. But again, dynamic, strong, everything you want out of an outside hitter. And now she put in the work this spring to pass better, defend better, and is showing out on the court. And then Claire Ann's just ridiculous as a libero. She's got length. She's got athleticism. She takes up half the court by herself. She reads well. She's, again, played for just an elite level club program. And you can't hit a ball by her. She has to have her eyes closed for you to hit it by her. So that core of 7 players has just been outstanding for us, and will anchor our team and really help our younger players grow and become more consistent.
We are with Campbell head volleyball coach Greg Goral. The list of accolades are growing, sir. Longest tenured coach in program history, winningest coach in program history. You begin year number 10, of course, taking this team all the way to the tournament finals in 15, 19, and of course, last year in 2021, back to the finals, hosting the tournament. You bring the first ever trophy in Campbell volleyball history home to Campbell. You've had a little bit of time to think about it, and tell me what that feeling was like after all of your staffs and the student athletes, all the hard work over 10 years to put the exclamation point on it with the trophy.
It was really emotional. It was for the first 9 years of my career, I look up in the rafters and I see banners for basically every sport except volleyball. And it was just hard to deal with. It's we got to do more, we got to do better. And every year we've just worked our butts off to train the players that we have, bring in new players, keep pushing them to be better than they were the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before. And for it to pay off in the end was really emotional. It's something that we've been striving for so long. It feels so rewarding to actually get it done, and it was everything. It was everything that we had worked for 10 years to put in, and the list of assistants that we've had, the 40, 50 some odd players that have gone through the program since I started here. It's just it meant a lot to myself, the staff, but also everybody that's associated with the program.
your recruiting has been phenomenal because you're not only getting the best players from around the Southeast, the California connection has really been one of the pipelines that you and your assistants have built in recruiting. What does it take to convince some of these student athletes from these hotbeds of volleyball to come from California to Bowie's Creek, North Carolina, literally all the way across the United States?
I think part of it is all the unique things that Campbell brings is something that people are interested in. A lot of players that we get from California and Texas, like, they don't have a lot of green. So it's like a beautiful campus. I don't know if you've been in Southern California. So a lot of the campuses in Southern California are just cement buildings.
Yeah.
They don't match each other. And so when you get somewhere where you got a lot of beautiful trees, you got a great red brick building, brick walkway, campus that's all-encompassing, new facilities across the board that, we can't thank our administration and donors enough in helping build. Like, that is enticing to players, plus the strong academics, being in a conference where we can compete for championships, all of those little things, and being, pretty sport-centric with over 500 athletes on our campus and everybody doing well. Like, that appeals to a lot of athletes. And for us personally on the volleyball side, we wanted players that want to make an impact earlier in their careers. Like, Sarah Kala just graduated. She could have played at a big Power 5 school. Didn't want to sit for 3 years, 4 years. She wanted to come in and leave a legacy, and that's what she was able to do here. So there's a lot of pieces that we provide in a lot of different areas, especially with the family feel to our campus. And just all the support we have for our athletes, it makes a big difference when players are looking at different schools around the country.
No doubt, and they look at the schedule you put together as well. We will not be able to see the defending champs in Bowie's Creek until the Fairfield Inn and Suites Dunn Campbell Invitational. That's a lot to put on a T-shirt. That's going to be coming up the weekend of September 16th. You guys will take on Robert Morris, and then on the 17th, NC Central and the Citadel. All of those will be on ESPN Plus. But before that, Coach, tell us about what you have coming up the next 2 weekends: in Indiana tournament at Valparaiso, and then the Kentucky Invitational, where you not only take on Indiana State, but the defending national champions, Wisconsin, comes at you on September 10th.
Yeah, we wanted to get near Chicago. We're getting more Midwest kids into our program, so we've got 3 players from the greater Chicago area. Valparaiso is about an hour from downtown Chicago, and so we're able to get a number of those families to the matches, plus Clarence from Ohio, and then Maddie being from Minnesota. And we used to have, like, Maddie Miner just left, and she was from Michigan. Like, we were trying to get a Midwest tour or trip in during her career, but COVID kind of cut us short. But yeah, we like to play at least one time out of region and see teams that we're not normally going to see, and kind of see what things are like. So Valpo made it to the final of the NIT last year. They're a lot like us. They're very talented. They've got a lot of athleticism, but they're one of those mid-majors that's just stronger and has some tournament experience now. And so I wanted to test ourselves with a team like that. Northern Illinois out of the MAC is always a good MAC school. And SIUE out of the Ohio Valley, like, that's a good tournament for us. I feel like we match up well with all 3 of them, and it's whether or not we're going to play well enough to win those 3. And I told the team, like, we can be 3-0, or we could be 1-2, 0-3. Like, it really depends on the mindset that we go in with when we play that, this upcoming weekend. And then going to Kentucky, obviously, like, I'm not afraid of playing a few Power 5s every year. Initially, it was supposed to be, we could play Wisconsin or Kentucky. Does not matter. They're both top 10 programs. It's turning out to be Wisconsin, and that's perfectly fine with me. We played Nebraska in the first round last year, and they were the finalists along with Wisconsin in the NCAA championship. So, but I like playing the Power 5s because, again, they're going to do things that we won't normally see, but that show us what we need to be better at. And, when we do go to the postseason and we're playing a Power 5 school, like, now we're going to understand what we're going to be facing, how we're going to have to score, how we're going to have to defend, and really what we're going to need to do to be successful. So getting those tests early in the year, gives our school an opportunity to be on a national stage. Like, had we won a few extra points against Syracuse and won that match, it's not just something that the conference knows about. Everybody in the nation knows about. And so if we play well against Wisconsin, we take a set off of Wisconsin, like, people are going to notice, and that only helps us, again, with our own confidence, but then in the recruiting cycle and all that stuff. So I'm excited about those matches and those tournaments.
He is Greg Goral. He is the man that brought the first ever volleyball championship to Campbell and Bowie's Creek. You'll be able to see his squad, the defending champs, coming up on September 16th and 17th. Coming up after the break, we shift our focus outside of the gym to football. We will talk to Campbell head coach Mike Minner, his co-defensive coordinator and former teammate Reggie Howard. We'll talk about game number 1 coming up this Thursday. That's coming up after the break. This is Camel Call Live. Campbell football schedule is set, and you won't want to miss the 5 home games this fall at Barker Lane Stadium. The Camels kick off the season on Thursday night, September 1st at 6 p.m. versus the Citadel. In October, Campbell welcomes nearby NC Central, plus conference clashes with Charleston Southern and Robert Morris. The Camels close the home season on November 12th versus Gardner-Webb. Season tickets start at just $100. Head to GoCamels.com and click the Tickets tab for more information.
Since 2019, the Fighting Camel Club has funded championship-level facility projects, such as Eakes Athletics Complex for Campbell Soccer, a new strength and conditioning space inside the Convocation Center. This fall, your Fighting Camel Club donations will fund a new sports medicine facility, a new locker room for women's basketball, and a new digital media lab for athletes to work on their personal brands, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes. That's the mission of the Fighting Camel Club. For more information, go to GoCamels.com and click on the Give button.
Thanks to donors like you, the Fighting Camel Club provides championship resources for Campbell student athletes. Over the last 3 years, donations to the Fighting Camel Club have helped fund facility enhancements and coach-driven projects that have pushed the Fighting Camels to win 27 conference championships. For more information on how you can donate to the Fighting Camel Club, go to GoCamels.com and click on the Give icon. Since 2019, the Fighting Camel Club has funded championship-level facility projects such as the Eakes Athletics Complex renovation for Campbell Soccer and a new strength and conditioning space inside Gore Arena. This fall, your Fighting Camel Club donations will fund a new sports medicine facility, a new locker room for women's basketball, and a new digital media lab for athletes to work on their personal brands. Providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes. That's the mission of the Fighting Camel Club. For more information, go to GoCamels.com and click on the Give button.
Thanks to donors like you, the Fighting Camel Club provides championship resources for Campbell student athletes. Over the last 3 years, donations to the FCC have helped fund facility enhancements and coach-driven projects that have pushed the Fighting Camels to win 27 conference championships. For more information on how you can donate to the Fighting Camel Club, visit GoCamels.com and click on the Give icon. The Fighting Camel Club, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Camel Call Live. We're coming to you live from downtown Lillington, the county seat sports grill. We will be here every Monday from 6:30 to 7:30. We want you to be here, but if you can't make it, you can listen to this live stream of this show on GoCamels.com and the Varsity Sports app. We'll also have it up on the Camel Call podcast tomorrow at noon. This Thursday night, finally, 6 p.m., the football season opens at home. We are back under the lights at Barker Lane Stadium as Campbell hosts the Citadel Bulldogs. To get you caught up with everything Campbell football, we've got head coach Mike Minner and his former Carolina Panthers teammate, now co-defensive coordinator Reggie Howard. And first, Coach, how excited are you now just a couple of days away from the season opener?
Very excited, right? You think about all the practices and all the meeting times, and now, Chris, we get closer and closer to playing someone else and kicking off this season, man. It's nothing like the first game of the football season. So we're going to be very excited. I'm very excited to see what this football team look like.
You've been here for a decade as well. Do you still get first game butterflies? Do you still wonder what exactly you're going to see out there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every team is different. And, us coming off a disappointing season last year with a lot of injuries to a lot of key players. And now we're just trying to get to that point of being able to get back out there and play some great football for our fans.
Coach Howard, I'll ask the same thing to you. You are with this team here in its second year, but in a different role. Co-defensive coordinator. Tell me about how that is working. And you have changed really this entire defense, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a great experience coming in this year. We wanted to change up the type of defense we were going to play and be more attacking as a defense. I guess the word Coach Mint talks about is being offensive on defense. So we want to give them a bunch of multiple looks and use our team speed and those guys up front to get after the quarterback and cover them up on the back end.
So co-defensive coordinator, what parts of the defense you're running? How is that working with Coach Adams?
It's great, man. Me and Coach Adams have a great relationship. He handles the front part of the defense, and I handle the back end with the secondary. And we talk all the time, getting great advice from Coach Minner, and just working together and cohesively putting together a great package. And I think the fact that him and I have a great relationship works really, really well because we're able to we're very open and willing to listen to each other and find the best packages and the best personnel to put on the field.
I already know the answer that the man to my left, head coach Mike Minner, is going to say about this, but I'll get your opinion of it. A darn option team to open up the season. I know how he feels about the option, and we'll talk a little bit of that, but wow, welcome to being co-defensive coordinator. All you have to do is stop the Citadel, who is a triple option team.
Well, the option becomes difficult if you haven't had a chance to prepare for it. Our team has been prepared for this since the spring. We've been repping it, getting our guys different looks that we're going to use against it. So it's not a sense where we come in and we only got 1 week to prepare for it. And I think that's what gives a lot of defenses trouble. But the fact that we've been doing it for so long and being repetitive about it, we just got to make sure that we don't get mundane and continue to do the little things right and execute at a high level, and everybody do their job, man, and we'll be successful.
So those darn games against Kennesaw State are finally paying off, huh, Coach? All right, you tell me your thoughts on the option. They finally, and it might be because of this man right here, they have finally, that they said they are going to start throwing flags now on the chop blocks, the blocks below the knee, that they say it's an emphasis this year. One, do you believe that they're going to throw those flags? And two, how do you prepare for something that we see a couple times each year?
Well, the first thing is if we don't see 10 flags on the field in the first quarter, I want all the fans to run on the field and get the referee because they cheating. They got to be cheating. No, man, this is something that's really good for us. Playing those guys is to be able to not worry about getting chopped down as a defender. I think that's very important. But I hate the triple option. But like Reggie said, we've been having a long time to prepare for this game, not just 5 days to try to get it done. We've had 5 months to get prepared for this triple option team. And so this is probably the best prepared football team to face the triple option. But even with that being said, guys, it is the hardest offense known to man. And so, it's going to be a tough night for our defense, and they got to play great football for 4 quarters.
What can you tell us about this Citadel team? They were 4-7 last year, 3-5 in a very competitive SoCon that they seem to be in most games. I don't think they've even decided yet who their quarterback is going to be. What can you tell us about the team you'll face on Thursday night?
Well, as far as the football team is concerned, again, they're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. They're going to run the football, of course, and they're going to play tough defense. And when you look at really all the games that they lost, it was one-score type games. And they won the last 2 games, which I think was very, very good for them with the momentum coming into this season. So it's going to be a tough outing for us Thursday night, and we're looking forward to it now. So, don't be mistaken that we not ready for this football game. So we're going to be fired up on Thursday. We're going to be flying around, and it's going to be a hard-hitting Thursday night football game.
You've been a part of these Thursday nights before. We haven't had one in a while. It's been either opening up on the road or having a day game. Maybe for some of those that have forgotten, maybe for some of those that have never experienced under the lights at Barker Lane Stadium, what is a night game on Thursday night to open the season? What is that atmosphere like in Buies Creek?
Well, it's electric. It's exciting. It's always packed, right? So we love running out of that tunnel under the lights and seeing all that orange in the stadium going crazy for us as we run on the football field. So the energy that Thursday night fans bring to the table, man, is so big for our football team. And so we're looking forward to them fans being in the stands, being loud, and making it very, very difficult for the Citadel Bulldogs.
When you think about this team, so much returning, so much youth, so special. We talked about the defense. Offensive-wise, you have a new offensive coordinator. You have changed your entire offense as well. I know a little bit what to expect. Why don't you tell everybody what to expect? Because it's going to be completely different than anything we've seen from Campbell's offense ever before.
Well, it is, Chris, and I don't know if Citadel is listening, so I'm not going to give them too much. So what I will say this, guys, is y'all better come show up on Thursday night so you can see this new offense, and then you can tell me next week what you think about it.
I like it. Coach Howard, when you think about your team and these defenders and the veterans that you have on the team, what is the makeup of the defense, and why do you think it's going to be so special this year?
I think what's going to make the defense special this year is we're really united, man. We're a family. I think guys genuinely care about each other. And just thinking back to those Carolina days, man, that's what made us good. Like, we always played hard for one another. We was really tough, well-conditioned. And all we wanted to do was run around and hit people in the mouth. So for us, that's the way our defense is being built. And we're all about getting somewhere fast and hitting somebody hard and just keep doing that over and over and over again. And I think this year, man, we did a really good job of really honing in on those little things and not assuming things, right? Just focusing in on every little detail to make sure that we're prepared to be the best thing we can be.
Coach, you have told me, and you have tried many different ways of handling training camp, but one of the first things you told me is your summer conditioning the toughest it's ever been, and this camp was one of the toughest that it has ever been. What was the reason for that?
Well, the reasoning, Chris, is that I thought our football team in the last couple of years wasn't tough enough to do the things we needed to do to be competitive late in the football season. And so we had to get tough and not just depend on our athleticism or, depend on some of the things that we depended on in the past. Now we're going to depend on our toughness. And that's really what separates great teams from good teams from bad teams, is how tough they are. And like Reggie said, when we was with the Carolina Panthers, what changed us from 1-15 and changed us to a Super Bowl team 2 years later was the toughness that Coach Fox took us through. And so, I wanted to go back old school and make sure these guys understand that the only thing that wins consistently is being tough.
Did you say Carolina Panthers? That is a perfect tease. Coming up after the break, we got 2 Carolina Panthers. They're going to talk about that 2001 year, 1-15. Then we're going to have a lot of fun talking about that 2003 NFC Championship year. We're talking Panthers football, Campbell stuff too, of course, when we come back after the break. This is Camel Call Live from the county seat in downtown Lillington. The Fighting Camel Club provides championship resources for Campbell student athletes. Donations to the Fighting Camel Club have helped fund facility enhancements and coach-driven projects that have pushed the Fighting Camels to win 27 conference championships. The Fighting Camel Club, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes. Campbell football schedule is set, and you won't want to miss the 5 home games this fall at Barker Lane Stadium. The Camels kick off the season on Thursday night, September 1st at 6 p.m. versus the Citadel. In October, Campbell welcomes nearby NC Central, plus conference clashes with Charleston Southern and Robert Morris. The Camels close the home season on November 12th versus Gardner-Webb. Season tickets start at just $100. Head to GoCamels.com and click the Tickets tab for more information.
Since 2019, the Fighting Camel Club has funded championship-level facility projects such as Eakes Athletics Complex for Campbell Soccer, a new strength and conditioning space inside the Convocation Center. This fall, your Fighting Camel Club donations will fund a new sports medicine facility, a new locker room for women's basketball, and a new digital media lab for athletes to work on their personal brands, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes. That's the mission of the Fighting Camel Club. For more information, go to GoCamels.com and click on the Give button.
Join the Fighting Camel Club today. Your generous support provides funding that allows an elite student-athlete experience, an experience that helped bring home a record 13 conference championships this season. For more information, call the Campbell Ticket Office at 910-893-1459. Since 2019, the Fighting Camel Club has funded more than a half dozen championship-level facilities projects. This fall, your Fighting Camel Club donations will fund several new projects, including a new Gore Arena sports medicine facility. For more information, go to GoCamels.com and click on the Give button. Welcome back to Camel Call live from the county seat in downtown Lillington. We'll be here every Monday night through May. We're talking Campbell football. We'll talk some Carolina Panthers football with Campbell head football coach Mike Minter and his former teammate, now co-defensive coordinator Reggie Howard. But first, when you come here and see us live, you get a chance to win some stuff. And we've got a 4-pack of tickets for raffle ticket number 711-568. 711-568. You've won 4 tickets to the season opener this Thursday. They're very excited. You just can't hear them. And now we've got the signed jersey, the signed Campbell football jersey from Coach Howard and Coach Minter that'll go to one of our season ticket holders. 711-555. 711-555. They will get the jersey. Thank you. Come win stuff each and every Monday night. All right. I teased it. You guys teased it. We're going to talk some Carolina Panthers football. You guys both teammates for, I think it was 4 years total. You came in the middle of the 2000 season, and then you were there for it all. 2001, the 1-15 season. We'll start there and build ourselves up. Going through that, even though you guys are getting paid, going through a 1-15 season, what is that like at the end of the year in that locker room?
It's horrible. Horrible. I mean, it's almost to the point that you just can't wait for it to end. It's like a nightmare that won't end. And then you get to the end, and now you got coaches just, going crazy because they're panicking because they can't figure out what's going on, and you got players trying to figure out where their future is going to lie. So it was a dreary feeling because even if we were in games, it's just like we found ways to lose games, and the losing became contagious, right? And so it definitely was something that we didn't want to ever experience again. So I will put it like that, and that was something that fueled us moving forward, was feeling like that and never wanting that feeling ever again in life.
And you really turned some things, of course, with the new coaching staff that the next year's 7-9. What were the changes? What did it take? I mean, to get from 1-15 to 7-9, that's an accomplishment in itself.
Well, I think the first thing is Coach Fox. He came in with a purpose, and his purpose was simply, guys, you guys are not good enough. And since you're not good enough, I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. And the second thing he said is this will be the hardest training camp known to man. But y'all guys who make it through, you will be champions. And that's what he said to us. And man, we bought into that because we was tired of losing. So anything anybody would have said, we would have went along with it. And that's how we went from 1-15 to 7-9 is because we put the work in training camp. And, man, that was a tough – we was in full pads every day.
Yep.
Every day in full pads.
Every day.
And I was going to say, you guys must have been hungry because you're telling a bunch of professionals, a bunch of grown men, a bunch of guys who are the best at what they do that they're not good enough. That doesn't fly in a lot of locker rooms.
It flew in ours, right? Hey, Reggie, when you lose 15 games in a row, Chris, you pretty much believe anything somebody tell you. So that was tough. It was tough to live through. And man, you know, I'm coming from Nebraska where we done won, you know, we 47-3, you know, and then in high school I only lost, you know, 6 games. And so elementary school I lost no games. And so, you know, I'm losing way too many games. And I'm like, man, Coach Fox, I love you. Whatever you say, we're going to do.
Then the next year, 11-5, NFC champs. You know, it was funny because you kind of forget how that year went. You guys were nicknamed the Cardiac Cats, and you think, oh, that's just something they say because you won a couple of close games. But when you look back at it and you remember – 11 of those games in 2003 decided by one score. 4 were in overtime, including the 2 overtime game versus St. Louis in the playoffs. What changed? How did you start winning those close games and going on to an 11-5 record that year?
I would say it came the year before. That first year with Coach Fox, we really improved on defense. We drafted was Pep
Yep.
one of those guys that we brought in second pick overall.
Julius Peppers, yep.
And we drafted well, and we kept some good guys, veterans, and we came fast, physical, smart, and tough on defense. And I believe that year we finished number 2 in the league in total defense, scoring as well. So we set that precedence that we could stop people. And what happened that year is we lost those close games, right? So we could have easily been, you know, 10 games, 11 games won that year, but we lost those close games. So coming into that next year, we figured out how to win those games near the end of that season, and that carried over to the next year. And so the next year we came out and played really, really well again defensively, but then our offense picked up, right? Halfway through the season, Steve Smith and those guys caught fire. He became a predominant receiver for us, along with Musa Muhammad and our running attack, because we could run the ball. But once we became balanced on offense, man, we really became a really deadly team. And so when you talk about a team that can be in any game defensively, but then we can score running the ball or passing the ball offensively, now we became a threat. And the fact that we can win in close games at the end. So that was our philosophy. We go play you to the end, and then we go win it, because we never really felt pressure. We had conquered that, right? So when we got in those pressure-filled moments in the fourth quarter, we just looked at each other like, hey, man, let's just go do what we do. So that's how we started to get the name of the Cardiac Cats, because no matter it was overtime, triple overtime, it didn't matter. We would go still play the same and keep playing hard with each other, and that's typically how we won a lot of those games.
You think about that defense, and it wasn't just you guys back in the secondary, but the guys up front. You think of Ruck, you think of Pep, you think of so many guys at every position, so good. There wasn't a weak spot in that defense. What made you guys so special?
Well, it's like Reggie said. I think it's the closeness that we had. We really cared for one another. The DBs hung out with the defensive linemen. Defensive linemen hung out with the linebackers, and so we were just really, really close. And we would go out every time we went to any place that we was playing away. Man, we going out together to go eat, and all that time that we spent together off the field, I believe, helped us on the field. And you know, I'd be remiss not to let everybody know that we also got a quarterback that we didn't know nothing about, and Jake Delhomme, right? Yeah. So before we had a quarterback that, you know, he couldn't get it done, right? And, you know, and now Jake come in, and we playing the Jaguars, right?
Yep.
And we come back to win that game, but Jake gets in the game in the second half, and that's how we won the game. And then at that moment, us defensive players knew we had a guy in Jake.
Yep.
We was like, we can believe in that. And I think that was the other piece that, came to the table was the quarterback.
Yeah, because you guys had the weapons there. Of course, Moose doing what he did, and you talked about Steve Smith, who people forget Steve Smith wasn't Steve Smith coming into that year. He was a young guy. That was kind of Moose's offense there and everything like that. What made Jake Delhomme special? Because even when he was winning, you were like, yeah, he's fine, and he just keeps winning. What made him special? How was he in the locker room?
I think it's just his leadership, right? You're talking about a guy that you could count on, you could depend on. You knew he was fiery. You knew he would take chances to put us in the best position to win games. He made a lot of tight throws, that most guys probably wouldn't take that chance with. So when you have a guy like that that knows that he can have the freedom to take chances because the defense go back him up, now you got a team, man, because now you don't feel pressured about throwing the ball into a tight area because you're like, hey, man, even if I make a mistake, my defense going to hold me up, And so that was what we had, man. It was the chemistry. It was just – if you was in our locker room, you would have never known we was as good as we were on the field because we were so silly. And we were always hanging out and just having jokes and playing games and all that type of stuff like that. But it was that camaraderie that gave us that chemistry on the field where, man, we just trusted each other. Like, it could be on the field like, hey, Mike on me, or, hey, Riz, tighten up, baby, here come the slant, jump the slant. It didn't even matter. I didn't even hesitate. I trust him. So if he tell me to do it, I'm going to do it. Because it's in the best interest of us being the best team on that field. And so for us, man, I think those were the keys that made us who we were and what made us special.
So that team full of so many successful pros and so many fierce competitives, you guys were kind of mean out on the field a couple, for those games and through those years. You guys were silly in the locker room. That's hard for me to imagine.
It really is. We joked 24/7. And I think when you winning, Chris, or you going through that moment, you got to have fun, right? You got to enjoy every moment that you have when you going through that with that run. And that's what we did, man. We just had fun every day. But once we crossed those lines, it didn't matter if it was practice or the game. Now it's time to get about business. And it's time to get serious about playing the game of football, and we could do that. We could turn it on and we can turn it off. But man, I always tell people you got to enjoy the ride. You got to enjoy the moment that you in because you will never get that back. And if you don't enjoy it, you're going to look back, wish you did. And man, we enjoyed every moment. We took in every moment, and that's what made us closer. It's because we was connected through the moments that we had.
Enjoying the ride all the way to the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that Super Bowl when we come back after the break. This is Camel Call Live. Back after this from downtown Lillington. Single game tickets for Campbell's 15th football season are on sale now. A reckoning is coming to the Creek this fall as the season begins on Thursday, September 1st at 6 p.m. when the Fighting Camels host the Citadel Bulldogs at Barker Lane Stadium at Gore Field. Purchase single game tickets online at gocamels.com/tickets and by phone through the CU Athletics ticket office at 1-877-GO-HUMPS. Pricing for single game tickets for this season range from $10 to $35, with group prices starting at just $10.
Since 2019, the Fighting Camel Club has funded championship-level facility projects such as Eakes Athletics Complex for Campbell Soccer, a new strength and conditioning space inside the Convocation Center. This fall, your Fighting Camel Club donations will fund a new sports medicine facility, a new locker room for women's basketball, and a new digital media lab for athletes to work on their personal brands, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes. That's the mission of the Fighting Camel Club. For more information, go to gocamels.com and click on the Give button.
Campbell football's schedule is set, and you won't want to miss the 5 home games this fall at Barker Lane Stadium. The Camels kick off the season on Thursday night, September 1st at 6 p.m. versus the Citadel. In October, Campbell welcomes nearby NC Central, plus conference clashes with Charleston Southern and Robert Morris. The Camels close the home season on November 12th versus Gardner-Webb. Season tickets start at just $100. Head to GoCamels.com and click the Tickets tab for more information. The Fighting Camel Club provides championship resources for Campbell student-athletes. Donations to the Fighting Camel Club have helped fund facility enhancements and coach-driven projects that have pushed the Fighting Camels to win 27 conference championships. The Fighting Camel Club, providing championship resources for Campbell student-athletes. Well, welcome back into Camel Call Live from downtown Lillington. We are at the county seat where we will be every Monday night from 6:30 to 7:30. This Thursday night, the home opener, 6 p.m. under the lights at Barker Lane Stadium. Campbell hosts the Citadel Bulldogs, one of 5 home games. Season tickets are still available. Single game tickets are still available. You got to come see them because Campbell goes on the road for the next 2 weeks, then a bye week. Campbell won't be home for another month. So this Thursday, September 1st, 6 p.m., Campbell and the Citadel Bulldogs. We have Campbell head coach Mike Minner, former Carolina Panther, along with his former teammate from that sensational 2003 season, now his co-defensive coordinator, Reggie Howard. Okay, you have the fantastic season. You go through the playoffs. After that first game at home against Dallas, you guys are on the road. A 2-overtime win against St. Louis, and the Rams were in St. Louis, and they were good back then. You make it all the way to the Super Bowl to face Tom Brady. First of all, what was that like, the buildup between winning the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl? Just had to be unreal.
Yeah, I would say it was – so Dallas, right? Dallas beat us in the regular season, and they beat us at home, and, man, they act like they had won the Super Bowl, right? And we didn't play well. So us playing them in the first game, that wild card game, we knew that we could beat them, right? So we kind of had that confidence going against those guys, and we was able to beat them. Now going to the Rams, man, they were tough. I mean, you're talking about an extremely talented team.
That was Kurt Warner. They'd won a Super Bowl a couple years back.
So our strategy against them was we're not going to let them go over the top of our head. We're not going to give up the pass. If they want to run the ball, they can run for 200 yards this game. But at that time, we had noticed that Marshall Faulk really wasn't a running back. He was more of a receiver. So that was our strategy. Let's see if Marshall want to run the ball. And it worked, right? They kept throwing the ball, and we kept playing pass coverage. And we was able to get out of there. And it was crazy because of the disrespect. They was already talking about they had won the game, So for us, that definitely was a big-time game because they were so talented. And then again, after winning that one, going to Philly, again, another game we lost in the regular season, and we felt like we didn't play our best ball. And we had a good strategy that we knew McNabb had trouble taking pressure up the middle of the field, up the middle of the offense. So we sent a lot of pressure up the middle and played a lot of man on the outside and played well against them and beat them. And so here we go, going to the Super Bowl.
Unbelievable. And then you're in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. You have 14 tackles. You are one of 6 men to have intercepted Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. He has 19 passes, and of course the TD pass, and of course the 6 wins. Man, the defense did their part in that. Did it? What was that like, playing in a game like that you've dreamed of all your life?
Well, it's like if you fast forward life and you just going 100 miles an hour, that game felt like it was like 10 minutes long because everything was sped up. It was like the fastest game I ever seen. Guys was running full speed every play. And so it was just really, really exciting when you get on the football field and feel the electricity of a Super Bowl. Now, that is the Super Bowl that a guy dressed up as a referee, right? So we come out at halftime, and then all of a sudden this dude comes on the field, and he looks like a referee, and he gets the ball, and he runs to the middle of the field, and he's getting ready to put the ball down, and then all of a sudden he snatches all of his clothes off and take off running. And I'm like, what is wrong with the referee? What happened to him at halftime? We are just amazed at what happened in that. And so it was a lot of different things that happened in that Super Bowl, man. But Tom Brady, at that moment. We didn't know who he was at that time because we was like, oh, man, all right, we're going to get him. And after the game, we gave him his respect and his love because that man right there can play some football. He was not afraid of us. He was taking the hits, coming back at us. In the first half, they could not move the ball. They couldn't score. And then in the second half, I don't know what happened. They say it's something about some cheating going on, but I don't know. But in the second half, they had every call we did, and they knew our defense, and they were throwing the ball to the spots you need to throw it to every play, Chris. So it was the craziest thing.
Bill Belichick, his team wouldn't.
Yeah,
wouldn't cheat.
You know, that's a theory that's out there. I don't know if it's true, but you know that's what we feel, that they really knew all our plays when we was out there in the second half.
Oh, by the way, this man played the second half on after the game. You found out it was on a broken foot, right?
Absolutely, it was the craziest thing. But you know, when you're in the Super Bowl, you don't feel anything, man. You just really so excited about playing the game and wanting to win so bad that even a broken foot wouldn't stop you from getting it done. And I remember the interception that Reggie had, and we was kind of like in a half field coverage, and he dropped. You know, he thought Reggie was going to stay in the flats, and he dropped off and picked the ball off. And I remember running on my broken foot, breaking on the ball like, oh, man, I'm about to get this interception. And, you know, Reggie was there getting it. And then I just jumped on him and you know, hugged him and was excited. And you know, just a great football game, man. It was back and forth all night long. And whoever had the ball last was going to win that game.
Yep.
And, you know, we kicked the ball out of bounds, and then they drove down to get the field goal. And Coach Fox told us this. Now, this is a story that most people don't know. He told us before the game, he said, guys, look, you do not want to lose the Super Bowl. The reason why he said that is he lost with the Giants a couple years before he came to us. And he said, because they're going to kick you off the field and you no longer going to be part of the Super Bowl. And we like, what is he talking about, right? Okay, soon as that kick went through, they kicked us off the field. They got the police, everybody escorted us off. And I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. That's what I went to once the game was over.
Don't lose the Super Bowl.
Don't lose the Super Bowl.
It was a heck of a year, NFC champs, and they can never take that away. All right, let's fast forward. Obviously, your team was close. You guys both go your separate ways after you retire. You're no longer with the Panthers or that.
Hey, by the way, Chris, I mean,
yeah.
I told him not to leave.
All right.
Okay, I just want to put that out there. I said, Reg, all that money ain't good money, so you need to stay here with the Panthers because we still can go do this. And he decided to leave, so you can ask him about that.
Well, I won't ask him about that. I'll ask him about when you call him about a decade and a half later and say, hey, I know you were back at your alma mater, Memphis, where he is a Hall of Famer with a fantastic career there. Of course, that's home for you. When you call him and say, hey, what if you come back? What if we do it again, but this time in Bowie's Creek? How does that phone call go, and how do you convince that man to leave home and come here?
Well, the first thing is I reminded him the last time you didn't listen to me, what happened? Okay, Red? So this time, listen to me. You need to come to Bowie's Creek and come help me win this championship at Bowie's Creek, man, at Campbell University. And I said, Red, listen, this football team and our program is really like what we was like with the Panthers. We just need the right coaches to come in and lead these young men because we got the talent. That's not the problem. So I need more me around so, you know, I can't talk to everybody.
And you really compared this team to the Panthers,
I
what
did.
You went through there to this.
Absolutely. And because I already know what it looks like, right? And so I'm telling Reggie this, and, you know, this time he paid attention, and now that's going to be the best decision he ever made in his life.
Yeah. I mean, he's very accurate. He called me up and he said, man, I don't know if I can afford you, but I'd love to have you over here. And I said, well, man, try me. And, you know, I thought about it, prayed on it, man, and it came down to me trusting Mike, just being honest with you. I trusted Mike. I believed what he said. I came in. I saw the type of bodies he had in the building, and I knew what he was trying to build and what type of culture he was creating. and I knew what we had with the Carolina Panthers because before we went on this Super Bowl run, we were 1-15. Nobody expected us to do anything. So for me, knowing that he already knew what it looked like to get to that point and where it was to come here, man, I left and I told him I talked to the coach from Memphis. He was dogging me like, you gonna leave Memphis to go to Campbell? And I was like, yeah, man, I trust him. I trust him. I love Memphis and this is where I'm from, but this is my brother. And he's telling me he needs me, so I'm gonna go out here and be a part of what he's doing. And he's right. It's been a great decision. And again, he was right. I chose what was better over the money. And that was a lesson that if I wouldn't have went to Miami the first time, I probably wouldn't have knew to make the right decision this time.
Well, we are so glad you're here. We are so glad that a couple of Carolina Panther teammates are back together. He's our co-defensive coordinator, Reggie Howard. He's our head coach, Mike Mincher. We are so glad they are here, and we can't wait to see this team this year. Your first chance to see him will be this Thursday night at 6 p.m. It's Campbell's home opener. Under the lights at Barker Lane Stadium, Campbell will host the Citadel Bulldogs. Tickets are still available. Season tickets are still available. Go to gocamels.com or call our toll-free number. How about this? 1-877-GO-HUMPS. 1-877-GO-HUMPS. And you can get your tickets for not only this coming game on Thursday, but coming up the 5 home games this year. Also available on ESPN Plus if you can't make it to Bowie's Creek. But we can't wait to see you under the lights. For Campbell head volleyball coach Greg Goral, who was our guest earlier on, Reggie Howard, and Mike Minner, I'm Chris Haymeyer saying so long. We had another great crowd here at the county seat. Give yourself a hand. Unbelievable crowd here. We hope to see you back here on Monday night. That'll do it for Camel Call Live. Have a great week, everybody.